ICD-10 for Immobility, Important Things to Know. Functional Quadriplegia, ICD-10 for Immobility, Important Things to Know. Functional Quadriplegia, in ICD-10, you should always use the most recent version of the code to make the most accurate diagnosis. In this new edition, you can find a number of updates, including an updated list of diagnostic codes. The changes will take effect beginning in the fiscal year 2020. If you are already using the ICD-10, you should update your documentation to reflect the latest codes. Here are some important things to consider when applying an ICD-10 for immobility. First, you should know that the ICD-10 code M62.3 is a billable diagnosis. It can be used on reimbursement claims for certain conditions. It should not be used on claims that have a date of service before September 30, 2015, or on claims that were filed after that date. This is because the newest edition of the code will be implemented on October 1, 2020. The ICD-10 for Immobility, G82.3, is a billable medical code. You should also know that ICD-10 is not a standardized code. Therefore, there are a number of differences between the ICD-10 and ICD-9 code. However, both are widely accepted and can be used to describe the same condition. For example, if you are experiencing symptoms of arthritis or are experiencing difficulty walking, you should use G62.3. If you are looking for a more precise description of this condition, you should choose the ICD-10 code M62.3. The ICD-10 for Immobility code for arthritis is the most commonly used ICD code for this condition. In fact, it is the most widely used ICD code for the condition. The ICD-10 for Immobility is also an American ICD. The ICD-10 for Immobility includes the following notes: excludes 1 and excludes 2. The G82 ICD-10 for arthritis is a billable medical code and should be used on reimbursement claims for this condition. The next edition of ICD-10 will be effective on October 1, 2020. There are also notes about ICD-10 for Immobility. The ICD-10 for Immobility codes contain notes about the exclusions. For example, if the exclusion is ICD-10 for arthritis, you would use G82 for the same condition. This code is not a synonym for another. It is a unique diagnostic code. It is often a mistake that causes the code to be misinterpreted. The ICD-10 code for immobility is M62.3. It describes an immobility related to joint pain. It also includes notes on the underlying cause. This code is a billable condition and can be used on reimbursement claims for arthritis. It should be used only when the date of service is before September 30, 2015. If the date of service is after October 1, the ICD-10 code is M62.3. If you are unsure of which ICD-10 code to use, you can refer to the ICD-10 for Immobility. The ICD-10 code M62.3 is a billable condition that can be used for reimbursement purposes. The 2022 edition of the ICD-10 for Immobility is effective on October 1, 2017. This ICD-10 for Immobility is the equivalent of a C48. Generally, a code for immobility in ICD-10 is a billable diagnosis. It can be used for insurance reimbursement. The ICD code for immobility in this edition is Q74.3. Its predecessor, Q62.3, is not. In this edition, Q74.3 is a billable ICD-9 for the same diagnosis. You can refer to the ICD-10 for the same reason as the other two codes. ICD-10 M62.3 is an American version of ICD-10. It is a billable condition in ICD-10. It is also a billable condition in ICD-9. Moreover, This ICD-10 code is an approximate mapping of its ICD-9 equivalent. It is not a perfect match, but it can still be used for reimbursement purposes. Its coding guidelines are available online. The M62.3 and M623 ICD-10 codes are the same. The first one does not contain a decimal point. If you use these codes, you should ensure that they include it in your claim. You should also avoid using invalid ICD-10 codes when filing claims with the Medicare system. You should try to use the correct ICD-10 code whenever possible to submit a claim to Medicare. It should be the most accurate and comprehensive code for your treatment. Read this. What does functional quadriplegia mean? Functional quadriplegia, quadriplegics, quadriplegics.